Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott, and our guest, Carmen Ohling.
Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook.
The Experience is made possible by these great sponsors. The Aspects of Aging weekly talk show, unscripted conversations with experts, each week hosted by Christine Smith on AgingBetterNetwork.com. Nancy Bakke, transform your business's profit potential with proven strategies and tactics. BestEntrepreneurSolutions.com. The Gillette Home Team, Keller Williams Realty Mid-Willamette, 541-451-2211, TeamGillette.com.
Hey. Ta-da! And here we are on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott, another Wednesday morning. We are so glad to be with you today. And whatever time it is where you are, it's 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time where we are. We're ready to roll for a new day, right, Scott?
Yeah, and even though I'm in Arizona in Mountain Time, they just thumb their noses at this whole clock change thing. So it's also 7 a.m. here in Scottsdale.
That's right. That's right. You know, I think it's interesting how Arizona does that and they don't change. And I think Oregon should take a note out of their book and do that.
Yeah, it's getting close, I think. So that'll be good.
Who knows? Well, listen, you're having such a great time down there with so many of our friends. You want to tell us a little bit about your adventure to Scottsdale in Arizona?
Yeah, so we came down here and had the opportunity to meet up with a number of friends, and it was yesterday, Jackie Olmstead, who I met through the Hounds of Business. And if you're not a member or participating with Hounds of Business, highly recommend that. And Mike Ashenbrainer has just written the textbook on how to build community. They are an incredibly loyal group. And then Abby Ritchie, who runs business, Senior Savvy Senior. I forget which one it is. But anyway, she sold her business in March. And so we're going to have her on the experience to share what it's like to grow a business, grow a business, and then sell your baby. So that'll be fun. And Mark from babyboomer.org was there. Fabulous website. I encourage people to go take a look. It hasn't been running for a very long time. They have over 700 or 600 contributors, but it's 100,000 podcast episodes that you can search through there. So, if you don't have anything to do this weekend, watch 100,000 or listen to 100,000 episodes. You'll learn a ton. And then we'll be up in and then Russ Johns. Got to hang out with our friend Russ Johns.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
And then I'll be going up to Sedona to visit my uncle. But one of the things that I've been doing is I was asked to do a review for a book that's going to be coming out, the Complete Small Business Growth Guidebook, Laura DeFranco. And so I've been reading this book and getting ready to write a review for that when this book comes out in the fall. So lots of good advice in there. So lots of good stuff going on, Russ.
So much great stuff. And I just want to, again, thank everybody for being here today and remind you that we'd love for you to not only binge the videos on the Baby Boomer site, but on the Experience Video, where we have hundreds of videos of amazing people like Carmen that are on, and you can go there, subscribe today. We're just trying to get that site built up, and that would be so great if you do that. And today, don't forget to share this out. You can share, tag your friends, let them know that Carmen's coming on, because it's going to be amazing, and we would love for you guys to let everybody know what's happening. So today, thanks for being here. And Scott, I'm just so excited for all you've got going. I've just been trying to weather the hot weather here in Oregon, but today we're supposed to be dropping back to closer to normal. And so we're getting there slowly but surely. By a couple of days, we should be back into the 80s, which would be great. 106 yesterday was a little too hot for me. So
Oregon boys don't like that. So
no.
Hey, you were at a great networking event and had some good pictures taken by our friend from Casey Creative.
Yes, Kara was there yesterday. Tim Wrist and Door Real Estate, Discover Oregon Real Estate, yesterday put on an amazing Corvallis Chamber Greeters that was so great. So many great people there, and what a wonderful group. Always a good way to build your business by hanging out with amazing people. That's why I hang out with you all the time, Scott.
I'm fortunate, Russ. I'm the fortunate one. But hey, we have got a great guest today coming up.
We do. And we're going to get Carmen in the room here. Yep, we're going to get Carmen in the room here, and so excited to have her with us. You know, she is doing so many amazing things that I'm going to let her tell you all about herself. Here she is. Good morning, Carmen.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Over in sunny Florida this morning. And that is such a great, I mean, I love going to Florida to visit. I just would rather come back here when Oregon's cool.
We've grown to love it. We've been in South Beach and Miami Beach for 4 years now. So being an Oregon native, I love to come home and I love to visit and I love to experience the seasons and I love to see the snow and a little bit of the rain, we'll say that. But we love it here in Miami Beach.
But you are getting plenty of rain there in your current neighborhood anyway, right?
Yeah, it's the rainy season, but the rain doesn't last too long. It's just, it's completely different.
Yeah, well, it's true. I mean, when the rain comes here, it sticks around for a while. That's definitely true. But hey, let's back up, Carmen. Give everybody a little snippet. Who is Carmen and what are you up to?
Oh, yeah. Who is Carmen? So I'm an Oregon native. So I grew up in Oregon. My husband, Joel, and we raised our kids in Oregon, Marcel and Janae. And I spent 16 years in corporate leadership with JP Morgan. And I decided one day, you know what? I'm ready to do something different. And I set out on a coaching career. So I started coaching women in holistic life coaching and holistic nutrition and really helping people design a life that they love instead of living out of default. And that grew into a coaching company that grew into hosting retreats and workshops across the US and Mexico. And then last year, I heard God say, you know, great job, Carmen, creating this ripple effect, because our overarching real vision and drive is this idea of being the one to show the world how truly great life can be. And so I enlist people in that. Join me. So I'm enlisting both of you to join me and all the listeners to join me in their piece of the world of how to do that. And he said, great job making that ripple effect, but now it's time for a wave. And I was like, I thought a ripple was good. What are you talking about? And so the wave was this year really stepping into hosting a large conference, which we're hosting in Bend at River House in September 20th and 21st, the Amplify Your Life World Conference. So that's a big thing we're doing this year. One other thing we're doing this year is we are really stepping back into leadership. And so we are hosting way more corporate events, workshops, and trainings around transformational leadership, emotional intelligence, how to be charismatic, really how to take yourself as an individual leader and your teams to the next level to really drive those dynamic results. So that's a little bit about who I am. Personally, I love to cook seasonal vegetables. I love going to Tulum. I take a sabbatical usually every year for a month to Tulum. It's my favorite thing, Tulum, Mexico. I love the Miami heat. I liked them prior to moving to Miami Beach because you'll love this, because Gary Payton, who both of you probably know, Gary Payton Sr., because Junior now plays too, he went to Oregon State. And growing up, my parents had tickets. So I didn't have a team, an NBA team. I had a player, and I followed Gary Payton, and he actually ended his career in Miami, and they won a championship that year. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? This was when I was living in Oregon. I'm going to love Miami Heat. So I love the Miami Heat. I love challenges. I love reading. I love connecting and making community. My gifts are really being able to see the gifts in others and amplify them. And that's a little bit about me.
I love it. And following Gary Payton, that's a good choice. And the Heat, sure, why not? If you're not following the Trailblazers, even though you're from Oregon, we'll allow you that. Personal development, and I'm always been a big fan of this. One of the things that we're in the process of moving, actually. So I'm going through a bunch of stuff, and I pulled out files, and I pulled out my Myers-Briggs test from way back when I was in the corporate world, and a personal leadership style indicator. So it was this test you took, you answer these questions and find out what kind of leadership style you have, and then how it changes under stress, which was really fascinating, right? And so I looked at those and I go, wow, a lot of this stuff is the same. Some things have changed, but I'd like you to talk about just how important personal development, personal introspection is.
I love that. That's actually one of the beliefs of our company is personal development is really the foundation to dynamic leadership, meaningful relationships, thriving health, and really extraordinary business outcomes. And what I see happen the most, Scott, is I see that we reach a certain level of success with the skill set that we've built, and it's really wonderful. But then what happens, we get complacent in that. And so the number one thing that's holding us back from our next level of success is our current level of success. And in order to get there, it takes turning the mirror back on ourselves as a leader to see what missing pieces that we have in our personal development tool bag. Maybe we're not very emotionally intelligent. Maybe we're using one of the top 2 leadership styles, which is micromanaging or laissez-faire, which means micromanaging is managing all the details where your employees don't really feel valued or empowered. And laissez-faire is like total hands-off. That's when you feel like, well, I told them I can't understand why they're not doing it. And when employees show up to employees reviews and it's a total surprise to them, that's always the test as a great leader, is when an employee shows up to some sort of review and they know exactly what's on that paper because of the type of leader that you are. But in order to get there, it takes understanding yourself. And often as leaders, we're so focused outwardly on our teams, we're so focused outwardly on outcomes and results that we forget about ourselves. We might do it a little bit, but then we reach success. And so we keep climbing the ladder of success instead of climbing the ladder of personal success.
Yeah, I want to say right off the bat that I love that, because people sometimes forsake themselves for what they think they really want and what they think they really need. And, I think when you're driving that home and, bringing people in the corporate setting or whatever they're in, where they get caught up in this mentality of others that we have to do this to achieve, we have to be this way. They're working to become somebody they're not, a lot of times, trying to be somebody else. And I think that's so important to focus on what's important for you, because I have 3 steps of connection and community building. The first main step is connecting to yourself. You've got to connect with yourself, be aligned, and move forward in who you are to be able to affect other people. Right, Carmen?
I love that you said that. Something that I always share, and it usually hits home, is the amount of stress and overwhelm that you're feeling is not because you have too much to do. It's because you're not clear on what you want and where you're going. So you're saying yes to everything and everyone, and it's exhausting. So it's all of those shoulds. So leaders should really be, as I use the word should, having a systematic way to review and reflect. Something simple that people can implement right away from listening to this is every night, take 5 minutes and write down one thing you're grateful for, one win from the day, and then one thing that you learned from the day. So you see the mentality and the mindset behind this isn't what did I do wrong? What do I need to do better? It's not pressure. It's like, this is where I'm at right now, because results and outcomes and experiences, it's all just information. Life is really a journey of building our capacity and building our ability to give and receive love. And so if we can sit down each day and reflect, what am I grateful for? What was a win? And maybe the win was, I had that difficult conversation with the employee that I've been putting off that's actually making a difference in my team. And then what did I learn? And learning could come from making mistakes. It could come from challenges that you were able to overcome, or just something really, really simple that you learned during the day that you were proud of. And if you do that reflection each and every day, you're going to be so much more aware of what's happening for you, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, I agree with that, Scott. I just want to jump in there real quick and say, I think starting your day and ending your day with being grateful is always a win. Mm-hmm. And I just wrote an article, one of my LinkedIn newsletters, actually, I think it's this week's, was celebrate the wins. A lot of times we need to look at the good things that are happening in our life. We're doing it, builds momentum. It helps make us a better person along the way, saying, hey, we really are doing some good things. All these problems that we seem to be having are really not as bad as they seem when you're grateful and you celebrate those wins. Right, Scott?
You're right. In sports, when you do well, right? When you sink those free throws and win the game, right? You're high-fiving, you're jumping around, your arms are waving. In business, we miss that. We miss that opportunity, especially when you're working remotely, right? How do you celebrate with folks? I put in the comments there a quote from Abraham Lincoln that says, if he had 6 hours to chop down a tree, he'd spend 4 hours sharpening the axe. Carmen, this is what I really hear from you is that if we're going to get involved, we're going to be leaders. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about what does it mean to be a leader and who is a leader? Because my belief is that leadership is not positional.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I agree. Everybody is a leader. First of all, we're leading ourselves. And that's what we forget about. And as we were talking about personal development, we forget about leading ourselves. We forget about the disciplines and systems we need to have personally. Another belief that we have is disciplines and systems are really the unlock to the freedom that you seek in your life. And most people shy away from that. So how are you leading yourself? You could also be a leader of your team. You could be a leader of your church. You could not have a position at your job at work that has a title, but just merely by how you're showing up as an individual, you are being a reflection of an amazing leader, and that goes so far. And so every single person, I think, Scott, is really a leader. And it's so important to understand ourselves first to be able to show up and understand others. That's one of the key components of emotional intelligence, which is something we teach in our company, the Amplified Life Company. It's the first step is self-awareness. So you can't be aware of other people's feelings and you can't be empathetic or compassionate if you're not first aware of your own.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is so true. And I agree with you 100%. I think this is all about making sure that we're aligned in why we're here, what our purpose is, what we're really trying to do. I'm all about, it's inspiring, encourage other people to be living a purpose-driven life. And I think when that goes into leadership, we are, like you said, we are all leaders and we should be intentional and live with purpose because we're influencing and we're leading people, whether we know it or not. There are people around us that we are affecting every day. And a lot of people will say, oh, I'm not a leader. Yes, you are. Your family, it could be at your church, it could be at your business, whatever. And I think that's so important for people to know. So Carmen, I think that bounces back to then they have to be intentional and move forward and thinking, if I am already influencing people, how do I want to be doing that, right?
100%. And so as I shared, life is really about building our character. So what character traits do you have currently? I was doing this exercise in a workshop I was leading, and one of the people spoke up and said, you know what, a character trait that I have right now I want to get rid of is busy. I hold the character trait of busy. Another person said, you know what, I'm just enduring. Every day I'm waking up and I'm enduring. And don't we want to be thriving? And so it's being able to pinpoint the character traits that you have that you want to maintain. Maybe it's generosity and kindness is a great character trait. A character trait that I value is I'm a very disciplined person, but that also means that I have a lot of freedom because I am disciplined and I take care of myself. I'm a very healthy person, and that goes a long way because you can only reach your dreams and goals to the level that your body can take it. And if anybody needs some help with like pinpointing character traits, just reach out to me, send me a message. I have a whole sheet of character traits that I'll send you, and you can really go through those just to understand where you're at and then how you want to show up the same or maybe a little bit differently. And again, I want to stress, I said this before, but this is all just information. There's no right or wrong. So if you do hold the character trait of I'm always busy or I'm enduring, that's okay. You can look at it just as an opportunity to choose something else, an opportunity to start showing up differently. It's not that it's wrong or right. It's just, oh, what a beautiful opportunity for me to do something different in the future. Because when I show up and I'm thriving and I'm glowing and I'm being of my highest character, that I'm intentional, then it allows others to do the same. It lights something up within them.
Yeah. I love the whole thoughts about emotional intelligence. This is one of those things that you'll never find right now, as far as I know, a college course that really teaches you how to read and manage the emotions of others, but really to understand and manage your own emotions. And we can't separate that from our physical health. So I'd really love for you to go into a little bit more detail about what are we looking for? How do we do this? How do we learn more about being emotionally intelligent and how that relates directly to our health?
Yeah. Okay. Where do I want to go with this? Let me take you down the path of how we react in life versus respond. So normally what happens is we have a situation that happens externally, which causes an emotion. It causes us to feel uncomfortable. Now, most people can't name the emotion that they're feeling, and they don't want to feel it. They don't want to feel that discomfort. And so what we do is then we create a thought, because here's the thing. If we could sit with that emotion for 90 seconds, science shows us that it's going to bypass. If we can pause and just take a beat, use the power of the pause, understand what the emotion is, really feel into that, then we'd be able to respond as our highest self based on those character traits that we really want to show up as every day. But what has happened over time, because society, because of our experiences, because of our conditioning in our subconscious, we don't want to feel that emotion. It's uncomfortable. Our body does not want like discomfort. So then we create a thought. That thought then creates a feeling, and that feeling has us react in a particular way that most of the time is not of our highest character. And when we do that time and time again, we get really hard on ourselves, which causes undue stress, which causes excess inflammation in our body. Not to mention all the other things that we might be putting in our body, or not moving our body, or not drinking the right amount of water, doing all the things that we know that we should be doing that's also causing stress on our body. And so that's really how emotions play into it. And the answer to that is really to start with understanding your own emotions, being able to name what you're feeling, or even starting the day with a simple exercise to start the day with is, how do I want to feel today? And if anybody needs to be able to pinpoint feelings or put a name on them, message me. I also have a feelings list, and you can go through and you can pick out how you want to feel throughout the day. And then what happens throughout the day, you just focus on that. That's your intention. What makes you feel that way? What makes you not feel that way? And so that emotion loop spiral that I told you about that we get into often, and then we don't show up as our highest self, we could be more aware of when that's happening by simply using the power of the pause and the intention on how we want to feel and show up for the day. For example, I knew I was doing this interview today, so I want to be very enthusiastic today. And I have a few more things that I'm doing that I want to be enthusiastic for. So what do I need to do in order to do that?
Yeah, I love that, because it comes back to intentionality. And I think you said it before, life is a journey. And so we're learning along the way. And just because we're in a spot now that really maybe we're not feeling so great about, it is, like you said, an opportunity to grow from there. It's an opportunity to learn from what we're going through now. And as we identify what we want to be and how we want to feel, and that's why every morning I am very intentional when I wake up about shaping my mindset and how am I going to start this day? And I always start it with three things. I'm thankful. I give myself a little pep talk that I can do this. God's given me the talents and abilities to move forward. And number three, I say today's going to be awesome. Those are the things that I do before I get out of bed to shape my mindset, to get myself started in the right direction so that no matter what happens to me, I'm already looking forward to what I want to do and where I want to be. And I think people don't realize the power, Carmen, that they have over their own thoughts and their own feelings and emotions. And I think that's so great what you do. That's amazing. I mean, there were like multiple mic drops in that last little bit. You're just, I love these lists that you have for people too. That's great.
Yeah. Feel free to reach out if anybody wants that. I love that you said about what happened in the past. One thing that I'm doing is I'm focusing on one scripture per week. And the scripture this week was Isaiah 43:18 through 19. And so I have it here. I'll read it. It says, forget about what's happened. Don't keep going over old history. Be alert. Be present. I'm about to do something brand new. It's bursting out. Don't you see it? Don't you see it? And that's for everybody, right? There is something awesome. New and possible for absolutely everybody. And if you want to wake up like Russ and you want to feel positive and have that positive mindset, it really starts the night before. So right. I like to think about doing that exercise that I told you right before bed, celebrating your wins. What am I grateful for? What am I learning? And so when you go to bed, you have those positive thoughts on your mind. That's when it really starts. It starts the night before in order to have an amazing morning. And more often than not, as we study successful humans time and time again, they all have some sort of morning routine that primes them for the day and sets them up for success. So if you're not doing that, take one of these things away and start implementing it and just see how it works for you.
I love it, Carmen. We often talk about habits, routines, and rituals, right? And these are the things that really ground us. And to be intentional about those. We'll also talk about surrounding yourself with those who will not let you fail. And so you mentioned some events that you've been putting together. And I know you talk about networking. Can you expand on that and give people what are the opportunities that are coming up so that they can themselves surround themselves with people who will not let them fail?
Oh, I love that so much. And what you're saying there is we don't just want to surround ourselves with like-minded people. For a long time, I was going to events and they were like-minded people. Everybody was ambitious and go-getters. But, we didn't have as much varying perspectives. And so the room that we're creating in September at the River House Convention Center, September 20th through 21st, you can go to carmenohling.com and just click on the conference tab or text me the word amplify to 503-386-2981. But what we're creating is a room of growth-minded individuals. So that's where you really expand, because here's what we know and believe is your network is your net worth, and it begins where your skill set ends. And like I shared, we've all reached this level of success, but now to get to the next level of success, we need our network, and it's really the catalyst to our next level. So in this room, when you join us, not only will we be going over so much of this that we talked about today, like high performance habits, taking time to reflect and check in. Are you living out of default or design? How to use data to drive your decisions versus fear-based decisions, building legacy, a live podcast, and just so much more. You're going to be in a room that's so high level that the collaborations that you're going to leave with are just going to be amazing. So we hope everybody joins us in September. And thank you so much for asking about that, because oftentimes we get around people and there are cheerleaders and they're supporting us. And we want that and we need that. But you know what else I want, Scott, is I want someone that's going to challenge me. I want someone that's going to push me to the next level. I want someone that's not always going to agree with me. And you know what? We all have blinders on. Even I do. That's why I still hire coaches. That's why I still join masterminds. That's why I still attend events, even separate from mine, because they can call us out on our BS and really get us to that next level. Because do you really just want to stay the same or maybe make small growth? Or wouldn't it be fun to make that really big impact that's on your heart that you know that you're being called to make? Get in this room and we'll help you get there.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. And I want to tell everybody that you need to get around Carmen because those things are possible for you. You need to go to this event. We put the information in the comments. Carmen, if you could add in that texting code and the other information in the comments, that would be great. Make
Oh,
sure we
sure.
get that out to everybody. And I'm just telling you, this has been such an amazing conversation. We are so similar in mindset, which is a great thing, but learning from each other. I've learned all throughout this discussion today, and I appreciate you so much. And I also wanted to say I'm very thankful for our friend Bonnie, who originally was going to be here with us today. But yeah, Bonnie is another person that is so positive and upbeat, and I appreciate. She's the one that introduced me to you at the first time, and I'm so thankful for that, and thankful for you being here today. But I have to be the responsible host and wrap it up for today because the show's our time is gone. But we want to give you a last second here, Carmen, to tell everybody really your gold nugget of today's conversation. What do you want people to leave remembering today? And then how do they get in touch with you? What's your best way for contact?
So you can reach me on any single platform at Carmen Ohling, OHLING, or you can email us at hello@carmenohling.com. Let me see. Give me just a moment and I'll tell you my best, what do we want to say here is that each of us have a responsibility and an opportunity to show up in our calling, that thing that's on our heart, that whisper that we keep hearing. And we're doing a disservice if we're not doing that. And so getting into rooms, getting around people like Scott and Russ, doing things that push you to be uncomfortable is the thing that's going to get you to the next level, including doing things to push you to be uncomfortable, to take care of yourself personally and professionally. Because when you do, you'll experience a level of freedom and connection and joy that you've never experienced before, and peace. And it's just so beautiful. And so like I started at the beginning, I just want to invite everyone in their part of the world to be the one to show the world how truly great life can be. And join us in September.
That is so awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us again today. We're going to have to do this again in the future because you have so much great information. We appreciate you so much. And what a blessing. I'm going to send you out to the green room here as we say goodbye, but hang tight for just a second. Scott and I will wrap up with you here in a sec.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Russ. I'm appreciative of both of you.
You bet. Wow, that was awesome, Scott.
Yeah, I spent years in the iron sharpens iron mastermind. Right. And another biblical quote there, iron sharpens iron. And I would remind the guys in the group that it's not pillow fluffs pillow, right? It's iron sharpens iron. And so it hurts sometimes, right? Yeah. Mirrors can be harsh, but we need that if we're going to get better.
That's right. And people don't realize out of challenges in life and situations that are not so good is when we actually grow the most and we learn the most and we become better. And, the whole bottom line is, and I always say it, we are better together. So you need to get around good community. You need to get around people that will not let you fail, as Scott said. And Scott, I just think that's so awesome. I appreciate you so much, Scott. Any last words or things coming up this week we need to know about?
Well, you're a good brother. I love hanging out with you and just bringing fabulous people like Carmen out to share what's going on in her world and to bring others into that to make them better. And we are better together. And this week, as I said, we're here in Arizona. We'll be up in Sedona later this week, heading back to Corvallis this weekend. Hopefully it'll be cooler there when we show up. But it
better be
at 9 o'clock coming up here in about an hour and a half. We've got the Aging Better Network, our sponsor. So Christine Smith's Aspects of Aging, conversations, unscripted conversations with experts. Everyone will want to tune in to that. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, it will. And don't forget, that's 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, unless you're in Arizona and it's still 9 a.m. But anyway. So anyway, all right, everybody, listen, we just appreciate y'all being here. As usual, it's been an amazing show. We just want to encourage you, if you have not already, please join our YouTube page. And I tell you, you can also go to local.theexperience.video, where you can find all the information about Scott and I, and also about our new show, Local, The Experience Local, which is great. Every Monday morning we're there. And that has all the information, though. But if you want to go straight to our YouTube page, it's the experience.video. And we just appreciate all for being here. We will be back next Wednesday here, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, for your viewing and listening pleasure. That's right. This does convert to audio podcast. So if you missed it today and you don't have time to watch, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever that might be. And with that, Scott, I think we're going to call it a wrap.
It's been a fun show.
It has been a fun show.
There we go.
All right, everybody. You got to end with Kermie, right? Listen, have a great day and a great life, and enjoy
the experience.
Woo-hoo!
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.